Hello and welcome. My name is the Bonafide Plug. Today I'll be introducing you guys to one of my favorite sleeping giant, Radix. But before I begin, I just want to give a quick shout out to my man Reborn. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel. We just released an amazing sort of interview slash podcast episode called A Journey into Infinity, Revealing the Secrets That Lead to Financial Mastery. Amazing title for an amazing conversation where we talk about cryptocurrencies, spirituality, how these two kind of tie in together, and obviously Radix. So without further ado, what is Radix? So Radix is a layer 1 cryptocurrency just like Bitcoin, just like Ethereum, Algorand, Avalanche, uh, Cardano, and many others. It's essentially a crypto that runs on its own network, and so it has its own infrastructure, but it distinguishes itself by claiming to have done DeFi right. And so it sort of proves its point by presenting to us three variables: productivity, security, and scalability, which are essentially tied to this concept in the crypto market called the blockchain trilemma. And so the blockchain trilemma is essentially this um, concept created by Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum, who claims that for a blockchain to be able to perform at a high level, it has to be able to compensate for these three features, which is decentralization, so essentially the whole idea of productivity and autonomy, um, security, and scalability. So it's sort of been it's called the trilemma because it's known as sort of like this challenge that has to be anticipated by blockchains that are being built, and it has, in my opinion, not been solved until Radix. So Radix in fact claims that it's 10 times more productive, 100 times more secure, and 1,000 times more scalable. So let's see how it proves its point, right? Here you see it says that basically DeFi sort of sucks for developer. A lot of them waste their time sort of scratching their head and trying to code things. So Radix sort of fixes this by making developing fun again. And so it does this through this smart contract language that they've sort of created called Scripto. So this language will be utilized for the Radix network, which is amazing. So let's click on learn more and see what they have to say.
Block.one spent over $1 billion trying to build a developer ecosystem for EOS and failed. Ethereum spent almost nothing, and despite its poor developer experience, captured almost all DeFi. Why? You can't build tall buildings without solid foundations. It's not just the large projects that make a public ledger successful. It's the community and individual developers who make building $1 billion application possible. Community-built coding libraries, tools, and standards like the ERC20 might seem small, but collectively, they're the bedrock of all successful technical projects. At Radix, we recognize the power of the individual developer. Any developer can contribute to our on-ledger DeFi component library. They'll earn a direct royalty fee when projects use their components to build the next $1 billion DeFi application. Successful components build successful projects, which build a successful community. That's how we'll incentivize the next generation of DeFi on Radix. Find out more at radixdlt.com.
Amazing. I love it. Simple, clear. Again, Radix is one of those projects that's sort of paradoxical in nature. It sort of is trying to simplify the global decentralization and sort of create this globalization in regards to their own crypto, but it's paradoxical because the project itself is quite complex to understand. Um, the why is simple, but the how is quite complicated. In fact, and I highly recommend you guys to sort of check out the white paper. I won't go through it because it is quite complicated. It's a rabbit hole really, and anybody who's interested in knowing more, highly recommend checking out their website, which I'll leave down in the description below. But let's go ahead and just see the basics of it, right? So again, this is sort of like a brief introduction of what Radix is and why it's on the surface level sort of got me intrigued. And this is sort of like all the things I've seen about it and I love about it, right? So it's 100 times more secure. Now, before even looking into the security of cryptocurrencies, I've always thought that cryptocurrency were super secure. essentially because it utilizes cryptograph, which is supposed to be sort of like this really, really safe type of coding language, I guess, or just scripting language. But it sort of kind of baffled me when I learned that nearly $1 billion of hacking has happened within the last 2 years. And it does put people at risk. It does make people less favorable for a decentralized network to run the global finance. It makes sense, right? And so Radix claims to fix this. Now, I would put this video on, but I personally won't because it doesn't really explain how it does it. It just explains that it does do it. Again, you can sort of learn about that in their white paper. They sort of, I heard that they sort of done some protocols to prove it in some like sort of test run. I haven't checked it out yet. In fact, I haven't done my due diligence in regards to that, but I'm sort of like pretty confident, that they are secure because, it's in fact like a lot of the hacks that they talk about seem big, but in reality, they're so minuscule to like the market itself. Like $1 billion in regards to like a trillion is very, very tiny, but it's still considerable, and it's still to not be taken lightly. And unfortunately, I haven't, I haven't done the most research on the idea of how crypto lacks in security because it's not really one of those things that it's really lacking most times. It's very, very it's one of those features that's the most important, for a lot of cryptos, right? It cares about security more than anything else. So I think security is something that's already been sort of, fulfilled in the market. Um, 7 times more scalable. So now scalability is a big issue. Unlike security, I think that scalability is much of a bigger issue than security. And I know a lot of people in the comments will probably argue about that and say like, no, security is a big issue. And in fact, security is important. I don't deny it, but I think it has crypto, as the name mentions it, it's sort of done its due diligence to be more to be in parallel to encryption and be secure, right? I don't think. Again, I'm sort of baffled at this fact, and they kind of talk about it in the video, but again, it doesn't explain why it's more secure in the video. You'd have to kind of look more deeply into it. As I said, it's sort of this project that's sort of complicated in nature, but it's trying to solve something that's very simple. So simple but hard, sort of the way nature works, right? So now it talks about scalability, the idea that uh, a crypto can't see itself being scalable and used at a global level. So in globalization, in regards to globalization, if it's charging $200 fee for a $20 transaction. Now, we all know the elephant in the room. I don't think I have to mention it. Now, again, shout out to Ethereum. Great project. Obviously, it's I mean, it's the second biggest crypto after Bitcoin. I think it speaks for itself. But it's true. One of the biggest problem with Ethereum is the fees, and so it sort of goes against the idea that it's scalable enough to be utilized by the whole world, right? Well, again, Radix sort of claims that it fixes this. It doesn't explain the how, but explains why it's important. And again, you basically the reason why I've yet to say that Radix is a blockchain, it's because it technically isn't. Now, blockchain is, Radix is super complicated to understand. I won't lie that I'll say that I know everything. Again, the idea of a lot of these guys in like the YouTube space, they claim that they know so much about crypto because they kind of talk about the things that they do know in regards to the things that they don't know, and they kind of try to avoid very in a subtle way about all these very important or like technical things about crypto. And there's nothing there's no shit given to them. In fact, I think it's normal. It's sort of like this space is like always evolving, so it's kind of hard to know everything. But it's once you kind of understand a certain level of things, it's easy to start to understand a lot of these things, right? Now here, if you look, it talks about the atomic cross-shard consensus, which means that it utilizes a different style of consensus than blockchain. I highly recommend you guys check the white paper. It's a bit hard to explain myself, but um, again, this is a brief introduction. This isn't something that I want to um, delve too deeply because it's certainly a rabbit hole. Now, besides all the technical aspect, I did mention in the video with Reborn that one of the most important thing, or one of the key points in me finding a crypto that's worth investing, um, which is kind of a broad kind of idea, but I actually do apply it, is comparing it to Radix. Now, I know I don't know everything about Radix. I'm trying to kind of explain it to people who are trying to get into it. I know it will be big just because in regards to other cryptos, it seems that as though done it has done a lot. It's solved a lot. It's anticipated a lot, and the team has been at it since 2013. You know, again, I listen to a lot of these YouTubers, and I know that a lot of the things that they talk about, they don't really know. They kind of base it upon certain key factors, which are essential to knowing, like, if it's worth investing. But there's a lot of technical aspect that I think they miss out on, which makes a lot of people sort of like scared and fearful about investing into crypto, which is understandable. But again, this is, as one of my fellow crypto YouTubers says, Crypto Mason, this is not a lazy man sport. Like there's a lot to learn here, and this YouTube, in fact, is sort of like a sort of a learning journey for me. It's a learning curve on its own because it pushes me to learn more to be able to introduce it to you guys. But again, real quickly, I use Radix as a standard because of what it offers in regards to what I do understand, which is the productivity, the security, and the scalability, and how they explain it. And another thing is they have a very useful Telegram. So if you don't understand a lot about the project, I highly recommend going into their Telegram. I believe the link should be down below. Let me go ahead and check that out. Yeah. So you see they've got a Telegram, and they mean this when they say these Radix enthusiasts. There are a lot of Radix investors. If you look into Twitter, if you really do your due diligence to looking who invests in it, you'll notice that a lot of them, and I mean a lot of them, are either people who only invest their money on Radix or Radix related project, or are invested in very few crypto and Radix being one of them, or are invested in a lot of project but Radix being their main investment. Which means that Radix is a very prominent bag holding for a lot of these investors. That says a lot, right? It says that all these people who have done a lot of research, right, about this crypto are clearly very invested in it, uh, and more than a lot of their other crypto, right? In contrast to all these other cryptos. And not only that, the Telegram and the Discord are actually willing to speak about other cryptos, something you don't see on other cryptos Telegram, right? They're not scared of competition. They're not scared of being compared. They're here to take over the throne and sit on it and not give a F. They're there to kill shit. And you can just tell by the enthusiasm of all these guys who really know so much about Radix, people who have much more experience than me, who are experts, who understand um, th- this whole um, this whole beautiful system. Oh my God, here it is. All right, jeez, sorry guys. Well, as you guys see, Alexandria is now live. It's essentially experiment with their scriptal language we've spoken about in regards to a smart contract and um, DeFi app development. And then we have Babylon, which is essentially an open self-incentivizing DeFi ecosystem with crypto component. Um, so I guess it's sort of like uh, utilizing crypto in an app in a way where it's applicable to the network, and then Zion, which is the unlimited scalability and composability to carry DeFi into the global mainstream future with sharded, linearly scalable Cerberus consensus. So you see here that they don't utilize a blockchain; they utilize this thing called Cerberus consensus. Again, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. But this is one of those cryptos that it's not like they've got a lot of smart language and they actually have a purpose. Like everything they say is tied to their purpose, which is right here: unlimited scalability and composability to carry DeFi. No other crypto is able to do this and to talk about their purpose on the surface. A lot of them are scared to talk about their purpose. This crypto is not shy. And obviously, there's a lot of background work put into this. It's been worked on since 2013, before the idea of DeFi being a thing. These guys have really worked hard. So again, I said I utilize XRD or Radix as a sort of standard for other crypto investments. What I mean by that is not even in regards to just the tech, because obviously the tech is immutable and it's very hard to find something that's as good as Radix and as complete as Radix with such high purpose. But it's also in regards to the team. The team is excellent. The team is doing its due diligence, and the most interesting thing about the team is that it's actually trying to create the product before even worrying about the marketing. So for a lot of you guys who haven't heard about this crypto, I said it's a sleeping giant because it has yet to be marketed, because the people that are involved in this project are only trying to focus on the product right now. And I actually salute them for that, because the product itself, at the point it's at, has only been speaking for itself to create the amount of people that are following this project. So shout out to Radix, honestly. And so the team is one of the main component, right? If a team is as devoted as this team, to the point where it's willing to work on a blockchain or a network, let's say, for 10 years, right? It's been worked on since 2013, supposed to come out in 2023 with the whole unlimited scalability and composability. It really shows something about this team. It's that they're devoted, they have high purpose, they're trying to achieve something great here. And everybody in this team seems to be super devoted. If you check their YouTube channel, right, Radix DLT, I highly recommend you subscribe to their channel. Again, you'll get more information about their product than anywhere else, right? And not me, not anybody else will be able to describe it as well as the team itself. And again, the Telegram, so many freaking great gems out there you'll find. They even have literally this sort of like pinned message where it's comparing to other cryptos. It's insane. They're up to par. And shout out to some of these guys that help others figure out why they should invest in this. It's amazing. It's just amazing community, amazing team. The community is immutable. Like I said, a lot of these guys are hardcore XRD investors, whether it's only XRD, whether it's XRD as the biggest bag, or XRD as being one of their only three. A lot of times I've seen people, they only invest in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRD, which says a lot, right? Obviously, Bitcoin is at the level it's at for a reason, and so is Ethereum, and so it's really, really interesting. And so again, I said the community, I said the team, and the other part is the technology. Obviously, if the technology speaks for itself, then go ahead and 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 maybe look into why you should invest in it with these other components taken into account. But anyways, I think I've dragged this video down a bit too long. I hope it wasn't too complicated. I hope I wasn't sort of confusing anybody. Again, I hope I didn't disappoint anybody by saying that I don't know the most about this project, because it sort of is complicated, but it's complicated in a good way. It's trying to simplify, uh, you know, um, worldwide application in regards to cryptocurrencies. So shout out to them. They're really trying to do something with this, and I appreciate them. And again, right, I did forget to mention, but Radix is one of those cryptos, such as other investment that I have, that I can hold on even during a bear market, if there is going to be one, and I know it will sustain. It's a sustainable investment, in my opinion, not financial advice. Again, I tried to give you guys a brief introduction, but do your own research, and without holding you guys anymore, go ahead, do your own research. Shout out for all the guys who stayed till the end. Go ahead and find out more in this rabbit hole, and see you guys later.